Welcome back, everyone. I am pleased to introduce Rachel Carey from Zinc VC, partner of UK Research and Innovation, another of NAM's original partners in the Healthy Longevity Global Competition, engaged since 2020. UKRI, in partnership with Zinc VC, have implemented a unique Catalyst and Accelerator program in the UK, and we are delighted to have two of their awardees, Sue and Sophie, join us for this session today as well. So Rachel, over to you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. It's lovely to be here. I'm Rachel Carey. I'm part of the team at Zinc. And as Michelle said, we've been working with UKRI on this Healthy Aging Catalyst program since 2020. So over the last 5 years, we've worked with dozens of different research teams on different healthy aging challenges. And I'm going to just share a little bit about the journey we've been on, the way that we've supported these awards. And then I'm delighted to have two of our award holders here with us as well, who will bring this to life a bit more in their own words as well. So just to give you a bit of the background, the approach that we've taken in partnership with UK Research and Innovation, UKRI, who have funded these awards, has been to support researchers to take an entrepreneurial approach to translating their research into a sort of workable product or service, or an innovation that can last beyond the end date of the grant period. So the key has been to try to support researchers to create something that has legs in a sustainable and scalable way longer term, because as we all know, the usual sort of grant funding cycles mean that often great pieces of research and innovation sit on shelves and don't have the kind of impact we need them to have on these key, critical, urgent challenges. We believe that researchers are sort of inherently very entrepreneurial, and we've been trying to support them to dial that up. Not all of them want to be entrepreneurs, and that's totally fine, but we think there is a role for kind of an entrepreneurial mindset to play in the way that we approach research and innovation. So we've seen these awards as a safe place for researchers to experiment, both with their own personal journey through entrepreneurship and to advance the products and services they're developing. So we've brought in frameworks from areas like design thinking, which we think can really help add a layer to the researchers' expertise and can help them to advance these innovations in useful ways. We've approached this in kind of two stages. So the first awards were really to sort of build the product and service and the venture, and they've been at different stages, but it was very early stage translation support. And then we have also selected a number of the award holders to participate in a follow-on accelerator program to help them really take those ventures to market. So UKRI has provided these two different kind of tranches of funding, and Zinc has provided these two separate programs of support in order to try to continue advancing the innovations beyond that initial translation stage, aiming to try to get to that point where they've got escape velocity and can kind of stand on their own 2 feet. We've been welcoming applications from a range of different disciplines and a really broad range of different issues as well within this area of kind of health span and later life. We've been really pleased to support a number of commercialization routes. So, of course, the kind of traditional spin-out approach, but also looking at supporting researchers who want to license their IP or create a social venture. And there's different sort of forms of that in the UK context that they can choose. And that really depends on both the motivations of the researchers and the nature of the innovation they're developing. And they've used the funding for a range of different things, for prototype development, market and user research, piloting, etc. So I think there's a really kind of diverse range of teams that have been supported, innovations that have been developed, disciplines that have been brought in. And the goal from our perspective is to try to kind of inject some of the best bits of the early stage startup world into this more traditional scientific environment in order to create innovations that can have an impact at scale. So we've delivered four of these venture building programs and then three follow-on accelerators since 2020. We've supported about 70 research teams across a whole range, I think 30 plus research institutions across the UK. And there's been a number of, I guess, core features to the support that we've offered. A lot of it, particularly in the accelerator, has been through what we would call venture partner meetings. So we provide sort of tailored, hands-on, one-to-one support in order to try to get into the weeds of what issues the teams are facing. We do also continue to provide cohort support, and I think the peer support that folks get through that cohort is really important. But the further on they progress, the more tailored the support needs to be, because of course the challenges get more idiosyncratic. So that venture partner type role has been really important for us. We also support the researchers' individual journeys, and we facilitate executive coaching for each of them to help them plan out their own journey through this complex landscape of spin outs and startups, and what they want their role in that to be. And then we do talks and workshops and peer support through the cohort as well. We have had a partnership with a great organisation in the UK called Voice, which has been a way for our researchers to work directly with a network of older adults to co-design their solutions. And that's been really important to us as well. So we've run a bunch of these programs, but our most recent accelerator program finished last week. So that is hot off the press, and I thought it might be useful to just focus in on that cohort. These are just some kind of high level numbers from that. So I think Sophie and Sue can correct me if they disagree with any of this, but I think the cohort generally found it helpful to have the program of support. They have really successfully raised a lot of follow-on funding since the start of the first venture building program. They've managed to reach a large number of end users, even just in the sort of co-design and prototyping phase. And then they are at a range of different stages in terms of the commercialization journey. So some are already out in the market, already having an impact. Many more are at earlier stages of development, but they are making progress at pace, which is what we want to see. So to bring that to life a little bit, I'm going to bring in Sue and Sophie at this stage. It would be great if you could maybe both introduce yourselves and give a sort of brief overview, I guess, in particular of the innovation that you're developing. So Sue, why don't we start with you?
Hi, thanks, Rachel. So I'm Sue Eldridge. I'm a senior lecturer at Queen Mary University of London, and we have recently spun out. So I'm a co-founder of the company called Reflex, and we incorporated in May. So it was during this accelerator program that we incorporated, and we developed a drug that can repair cartilage injuries and help treat and prevent osteoarthritis. Yeah.
Great. And Sophie?
So hi everyone, I'm Sophie and I'm a research assistant at Imperial College, but also the founder of a company called AIKNIT. And we are looking basically at a novel approach to design orthotics that are much more programmable and can change their stiffness level in order to support patients with musculoskeletal conditions. And we started focusing particularly on conditions like osteoarthritis and tendinitis on the hand and wrist.
Great. So guys, maybe if you can sort of project back in time to before you started the first program, what stage were you at? What were you hoping to get out of it? And what have been the sort of key milestones for you, I guess, on the journey between where you were then and where you are now? Sophie, since you're still off mute, why don't we go back to you first?
Yeah, sure. So before the program, I really was more at a conceptual stage where we like so I work with a team of different designers and clinicians, and we kind of conceptualized our prototypes, looked at various ways of how we can create the material properties of the stiffness levels, but also we conducted first interviews with patients. And then during the program for us, it was we really narrowed down our concepts to find our USP, to conduct more in-person sessions with clinicians, to get them really trial out the devices, to understand what works, where's the benefit. So that was very helpful for us to really narrow down and come out with the project, with the products that we want. And we then really started exploring pathways into clinics and into the market, whether that's like selling it to clinics or clinics recommending it, or selling direct to consumers. So we have taken, I think, a huge step from what was just a concept to clear prototypes and clearly knowing how we're going to reach our end users and what it really does and how it would really benefit them.
Great, thanks, Sophie. And Sue, same question. Where were you then? I guess what kind of were you hoping to get from the program or from the duration of the award, and what have been the key steps along that journey for you?
It's funny when you say take yourself back there, it feels like yesterday, and yet it feels like 5 years ago, and I think it was 18 months ago. Because we've created a drug, I think my pathway is very different from a lot of the other peers in the cohort. So I'd say our scientific data was and still is very solid. I wouldn't say that has advanced drastically due to the program itself. We were at the stage where we knew we wanted a company and we had no idea how to go about it whatsoever. And now I said we've been incorporated 6 months now. And the program was just completely instrumental in enabling us to do that, teaching us, talking us through it, making us understand things. I think back at the time, I just acquired a small grant to develop a business plan. So we didn't even have a business plan when we applied to the Catalyst program. It's taken us a long, long way.
And it might be helpful just on that note to sort of reflect back a little bit, I guess, on your own personal journeys through it and the role that you've played. And it's different for different teams and different researchers, what they want out of it, what they want their own role to be. For some people that changes over the course of the program or programs. But it's something that we, I guess, put a lot of emphasis on, is the sort of individual personal development and professional development through that journey. And like all sort of early stage innovations, it's a bit of a roller coaster and your own kind of identity gets tied up in it. So it's complex. But how have you sort of approached it, Sue, kind of navigating that in terms of thinking about what you want your role to be during that process?
It has changed quite a lot. At the beginning, I think I thought I wanted to be involved in the science aspect of the company, whereas now I feel a lot more confidence in myself that I can be involved in other areas and help shape that. But that comes from meeting people, being exposed to different people, and also learning the language as well. That I think was a massive barrier for me. I come from an engineering background, and I made the jump a long time ago to move into the biology field. That was another instance where I had to learn a different language, and now I feel I'm learning another language again. But as soon as you get to grips with that aspect, everything else becomes a lot easier. Things start to fall into place and make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think it's such a great point, and it's something that we hear a lot, that researchers will often think that, they need an MBA to be able to make decisions on the business side, or they need a product specialist who can fully advise on. And I think, that's true to an extent, that there are different skill sets and you need the complementarity across the team and you need to bring in different people for different purposes. But I also think it's true that we underestimate the role that we can play and the value we can bring to those other areas. And there is a learning curve, but pretty much all researchers are researchers because they're interested in that kind of learning. So I think it's something that we can tend to undervalue as well, the extent to which we can and should steer the direction of the project, venture, innovation more broadly. I don't know, Sophie, if that resonates or how your own journey through this has been.
Yeah, definitely resonates. And for me, it was more like I was working over 10 years before I started this journey, like in a big corporate. And I really had, for me, it was really clear I wanted to do something else and I wanted to do something of my own. So I had that drive coming from finding a new avenue out of my corporate job. So I was really, I would say, determined to take on that challenge and to learn what it means to lead a company or to found and what are all the things that I need to learn. And when I look back on, it's been 2 years since I founded AINIT, and when I look back on the 2 years ago to where I am now and what I have learned, it's just incredible to see what skills you can really acquire and how you can develop yourself and what you're really capable of and might be in the future. And yeah, I've really embraced the journey with all the challenges, with all the difficulties, but also on each journey and each difficulty you grow. And I think it's just being open and receptive and willing to find ways, and then of course through the programs like this one, getting the mentorship and the support around you really helps you massively to create that journey for yourself. So yeah, for me it was always clear that I wanted more of leading or guiding or being kind of leading that project and company from the early start on.
I think it's almost like, we always talk in sort of early stage innovation. You hear this a lot, that you need to be really wedded to the problem and really open-minded about the solution. And in a way, I think there's an analogy with the personal journey that I think people will tend to have a sort of general vision or impact that they feel really passionate about and wedded to, but the journey can kind of take you in all sorts of directions, and being open-minded about which path you choose feels usually like the right approach. All right, I wanted to just ask a couple of last questions, I guess, turning more towards the future and where you are now and where you want to get to. Can you both share a little bit about what the journey ahead looks like, what the kind of ideal next steps are, where you hope to get to with it, and what your sort of immediate priorities are? Feel free, either of you, to jump in.
I feel well prepared, I would say, but it's also daunting because for me, I mean, a lot of people that spin out or have startups might have done it before. And I think for both me and Sophie, this is the first time we're doing it. So we are learning as we go. So the stage we're at now is what we really want to do is try and solidify the team that we have around us. I think that's the number one priority. And obviously we're fundraising at the moment. So I think for us, that's the main priority, making sure that we have the team, the people around us, the support, but the people that know the right people. So our venture partner from within Zinc has agreed to continue working with us. And she's been phenomenal in putting us center stage at different events over the last 6 months, putting us in touch with different people, different networks, women in science, women in healthcare. These types of things for me have been really, really useful to make these kind of connections and learn from the people that have gone through it as well. But yeah, I think like everyone, the main priority is get some money in and make it happen.
Yeah. And they're all sort of contingent on each other, getting the team. It's all a bit chicken and egg, right? You need the team in order to get the money, and you need the money in order to secure the team. And there's a sort of strange sequencing thing that happens, especially in these early days. But that's great, Sue, and sounds like you're kind of lining everything up in the best possible way. Sophie, what about you guys? What's next?
Yeah, same like Sue as well. Like we are currently fundraising, and then I think we are not very far away with entering the market. So I think for me, the next really key milestone is to bring our first device, maybe within the next 18 months, into the sports market first. We have developed connections there already, and then really quickly follow up to bring our first like hand stiffness adaptive orthotics, which feel more like a second skin into the medical sector. And then obviously my dream is to build a very interdisciplinary multidisciplinary team, bringing on board different competencies, and then like developing much more exciting products where we can fuse technology with the body to seamlessly integrate functions to help people with different needs. So yeah, really looking forward to this.
Great. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to share a little bit of, I guess, kind of reflections from Zinc. And then it would be great maybe to come back to you guys briefly for one key reflection or lesson learned or piece of advice. But I'll give you a minute to ponder on that while I share some of ours. So I think we've approached this very collaboratively with UKRI. I think that relationship has worked really productively over the last few years. And that combination of a sort of, I guess, kind of traditional grant funding vehicle with that hands-on support that we aim to provide has worked really well. And I think there's a role for that to play in supporting any kind of research, commercialization, research impact, that combination of money which is needed, not least to buy out the academic time, with the kind of hands-on support that you need and you can get in those types of more traditional venture builder, accelerator, incubator type programs. The cohort element was really important for us. We sort of suspected that would be key, and I think most of the feedback we've got has emphasized how useful that has been to have kind of fellow travelers in lockstep with you, albeit, you know, at different stages, developing different things from different backgrounds, but having that peer support, I think, has proven really useful. And then I think the kind of accelerator as a follow-on has been a really critical second stage. So, we've run, Zinc has been going since 2017. We've run a lot of different types of programs. And our kind of general learning, I guess, has been that early stage is so full of risk that you always need longer than you think you do to help get that kind of lift off. So having that sort of first program, a bit of a pause, and then a second program where you really try to double down on getting lift off, I think that has worked really well. And that accelerator stage has been really important to us. I think there is a sort of mission-based approach here, which has mobilized a really diverse ecosystem, not just of the cohort themselves, but also the collaborators, partners, funders, charities, communities that folks have engaged with, have come in, lots of them willing to give up time because they are committed to this general mission area. And I'm sure everyone on this call is familiar with the engagement that elicits. We made a big effort to engage directly with the university's commercialization teams and tech transfer offices, and to try to help researchers navigate that, which, you know, that can be a complex and sort of opaque journey for lots of researchers. So we've tried to facilitate some of those conversations. And I think for us, the big learning has been the potential there is to get more great research into tangible, workable, scalable, impactful innovations. We know that funnel from sort of ideas through to impact is a bit of a leaky pipeline. And so for us, this is one way to try to get more great research out into the world having impact through a range of different commercialization routes, and kind of making that work for the particular innovator, and innovation has been key. Sue, Sophie, any very quick reflections or thoughts to leave us with?
I'd say be brave is probably what I would advise anyone. And that's my biggest reflection. I think, so before I joined this program, I was an academic with a dream. And I never thought this was possible at all. If I can blow my own trumpet really briefly, this year I've been nominated as I'm a finalist for an OBN Emerging Entrepreneur of the Year. No way on earth would I have thought that was possible before I joined this program. Not at all.
Amazing. Thanks, Sue. Sophie?
Yeah, and I thought just build yourself a great a great network of people around you who help you through this journey in all possible ways. And yes, Sue said, be brave and be ready for a bumpy journey, but embrace it and be persistent. give up, and there will always be avenues coming around even if you don't see them. So just have the right people in place, and yeah, a good planning maybe as well.
It's great advice. I think that sort of core of a great team is really more than half the battle. Thank you guys, and thank you so much for sharing all your reflections. Just in the last 30 seconds, I wanted to just signpost to some broader work we're doing at the moment at Zinc, looking at how we can make the whole science for impact ecosystem work better. We've been doing a lot of work to engage with organizations and people in the UK who are thinking about how to do this differently, how we can redirect focus to our most important and urgent problems, how we can better translate IP into impactful solutions, how we can get better at coordinating different types of capital that's needed, how we can support innovative talent in a way that's more agnostic to the institution or setting or sector they're in, and how we can solve the adoption problems, which we know, especially in health-related areas, are critical. So please do get in touch if you're interested to hear more about any of this broader work or have ideas for what we could do differently. And thank you so much for joining our session. I think I'm handing back to Michelle.
And honestly, that's not what I was thinking.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for sharing about Zinc's program supports and your unique partnership with UKRI and how you can do science differently. It sounds like you've really set your awardees up for success in their entrepreneurial journey. And this is such an impressive model that I hope more entities can implement in other contexts. And Sophie and Sue, we really appreciate you sharing your innovative projects and experiences with the Healthy Longevity Global Competition Network, and wish you all the best in advancing your work. And I love your message, be brave. So next we'll transition to a short break. And when we return, I will showcase the NAM's US-based Catalyst Award competition, and then welcome one of our awardees to join me in a conversation about his project and the impact of the Catalyst Award. So thank you all. Stay tuned.